Hi, everybody. Good Sunday evening to you. Did anyone hear me sneeze? I wasn't sure if it picked up on the mic during the intro or not, but I just had like a little sneeze attack before this. So if you did, sorry about that. What a way to start the Sunday evening show, right? Happy holidays, guys. We have Christmas coming up in just a couple days here. Just unbelievable how fast we kind of zip through December here, but we're here. And I hope you guys are all settled in with your plans and everything you've got going on and those last minute gifts and all that good stuff. I know it's been kind of crazy for a lot of you. So good to be with you here tonight. I want to keep this quick for you. Number one, I'm running late. We had a family holiday party and we just got home and I got to go to bed because I got to do the morning show tomorrow. But either way, I want to keep this quick for you guys and take you through the holiday. We'll take you through New Year's Eve and how all that looks right now. And I want to talk January's pattern change because we're going to go back to cold. I mean, you think we would, right? We're in December, late December now, and we're going to get into January. And it typically gets cold this time of year. We know that. We get Arctic blasts. And so I do see one coming our way. And I see a switch to perhaps snowstorm potential as we get into January. So I want to talk all about that. We'll get to our sponsors here in a second. First, I want to thank our early birds to the show here tonight. Mary's with us. Hi, Mary. I hope you're doing well. Jeff, good evening to you. We've got our friend Derek on board on our YouTube channel. Derek, I appreciate that. Phoebe made it. Yay. Hi, Phoebe. Susan's with us as well. Hi, Susan. Honor Coleman just got back from northern Wisconsin. Had fun snowboarding. 4 inches of new snow over the Friday morning. Yeah. Oh, that's great. We had a great weekend as well. We got some snow here. So the kids were out playing with it. We've just been kind of busy with holiday plans over the course of the weekend. So to be honest, I did the morning show on Friday and then I kind of stepped away from weather this weekend because we had so much going on. So I just, last 5-10 minutes since we got home, I was kind of combing through the models for the first time. So we'll look and kind of analyze it together here as we get into the show. JP's with us. Ethan made it tonight. Lynn, hello. Thanks for joining us. Merry Christmas to you. And Susan, good evening to you. All right, let's jump into the broadcast. Let me thank our sponsors real quick. If you guys need anything from any of these folks, they're all local to Northwest Indiana and they're awesome. They're just great. If you need a new pole barn constructed or you want one renovated, FBI Buildings has been doing it for decades, and they've done over 20,000 of them in the Midwest. They do renovation. They do new ones. They're great. FBIbuildings.com. Meals on Wheels of Northwest Indiana. They're looking for volunteers. I know there's not a lot of extra time, this time of year, but a lot of us want to give more of ourselves and to the community around you. And Meals on Wheels they're looking for volunteers to deliver meals. And the time can be on your own time, whatever schedule you have. Call Faith Evers if you can. If you're able to do this, she would love to hear from you. 219-756-3663. Again, they're looking for volunteers to deliver meals. PSA, that's our public service adjusters. It's publicserviceadjusting.com. If you have an insurance claim, and sadly this time of year we get a lot of basement flooding from burst pipes, especially with this cold air coming in January. If that happens, don't contact your insurance agency quite yet. Right away, contact PSA at publicserviceadjusting.com. They're all local licensed insured adjusters. They'll come out quicker than your insurance agency will. They'll analyze the problem. They'll take pictures of it, document it, and they'll submit everything to your insurance agency, and they'll work with them so you don't have to. And they won't let them lowball you in terms of what you need replaced. They'll get you the money that you deserve. 5-star reviews across the board. Publicserviceadjusting.com. TigerPlumbing.net. If you do have any burst pipes or anything like that, God forbid, TigerPlumbing.net, the place to go. If you need a new faucet, perhaps you get a new faucet, a Delta faucet for Christmas, and you want it installed. Or maybe you're just looking to renovate a bathroom and get some new plumbing work in there. Whatever it happens to be, TigerPlumbing.net is your place to go. They come out for free, which is rare this day and age. Normally, they at least charge you gas money, right? But they're great. You can also schedule your appointment on your phone. Tigerplumbing.net. Minogue.life. Michael Minogue is an awesome guy. He's in charge and our expert in the region in terms of life insurance, Medicare, Medicaid, all that confusing stuff. There are new rules going into effect in 2025 you may not know about. And in terms of, maybe you have a Medicare, Medicaid, or life insurance plan that you picked by phone, or maybe you did it online and you're not clear what benefits you have, he would be happy to sit down with you and let you know what you're missing, what you have in your plan that you're paying for that maybe you're not using. He'd be happy to analyze that. He's an expert in that world. He's happy to review your coverage, just answer questions about what you have. His goal is to help you find the options that fit your needs. There are no two plans that are the same. Again, Michael Minogue. The website is minogue.life. Kate Cusack for Ruoff Mortgage. She's your local lender for all your mortgage needs. If you purchase a new home, if you refinance, both of those situations, she'd be glad to guide you every step of the way. And she also knows that everyday spending and monthly bills, especially this time of year, they can add up fast, right? So if you're interested in knowing how you can consolidate some of your debt or tap into your home's equity even for future financial needs, maybe you have a project coming up, you like to pay for that, you can use your home's equity without taking out a huge line of credit somewhere. Reach out to her. She'd be happy to help you see what those possibilities are. A lot of people struggling with credit card balances these days. They have some great products to help with your provide some financial relief for you, because we are all feeling it these days, right? Again, Kate Cusack, Ruoff Mortgage. You can find her on Facebook. It's Kate Cusack Home Loan Girl. On Facebook, we tag her in a lot of our posts during the week. And finally, last but not least, Grieger's Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Valparaiso. They've been serving the region for decades. Right there on US 30, they've got a brand new line of Jeeps on the lot. 2025 is ready to go. The Wagoneer is a wonderful one that would fit any family. And they've also got four-wheel drive or all-wheel drive. So certainly give them a visit if you're looking for a new vehicle or even a used one that's got a little bit more traction this time. Your Grieger's Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. All right, let's look at the models. Hello, everyone else that's joined. Jason's with us. Chris, hello. Tim, Noreen, Merry Christmas to you. Gail's with us. Thank you so much, Gail. Jacob, Merry Christmas to you. Let's dive into the forecast, shall we? All right, so we've got a couple of things going on. We've got a storm system that's going to move in tonight into tomorrow morning. We're going to keep our eye on. We may have a little freezing rain as we get into the daytime tomorrow initially. I think most of this is going to be east of us, but we'll talk about that in a second. The big picture here across the country, though, we're saying goodbye to the cold air of the weekend, and we're replacing it with more of a zonal flow. So our flow is now going west to east again. It's not coming out of the Arctic, and you can see that it's very evident in the kind of the flow of storm systems coming at us from the west versus the northwest. So these Pacific storm systems have a little bit more moisture with them. They've got not quite of a difference between the warm and the cold. So they're just kind of systems that are going into air that already exist. And that's why, because we're coming out of cold and we've got just moisture throwing in, that we may have a little ice around here later on tomorrow. And then after that, we kind of warm up. That flow is going to turn out of the southwest. So kind of quiet here over the course of the weekend outside of some of the snow that we had right to start the weekend. And now we're starting to get a little bit more active around here. There are winter weather advisories out for LaPorte County and Stark County as well. Again, this is for the freezing rain potential as this system moves in during the day tomorrow. So let's dive into the modeling. We have a nice southwest wind, so we're starting to warm things up. This southwest wind, you can see with all the ice bars lining up all the way down to the south, it's blowing in warmer air down by Mexico. However, it takes a long time to get here, and our air has been kind of cold right over the course of the weekend, so it's going to take a while to warm things up. We're going to get there eventually, but that while that it takes brings in this chance tomorrow. This is tomorrow morning into the midday hours, and really the only icing that I'm worried about is when this moisture initially develops. So this isn't going to be something that's coming in tomorrow. It's going to be something that kind of develops overhead as an area of low pressure gets going out towards our west. And so this is tomorrow morning. This is your morning rush hour right here. Not much going on. But then once we get into the morning rush hour, then once we get beyond it into the latter half of the morning midday hours, that's when we're expecting rain to develop. As our atmosphere is going to be warming up above. We've got warmer air, a little sliver of warm air coming in up above us. However, our surface temperatures are still going to be frozen in a lot of locations. Will be 32 or below, especially in LaPorte County out towards South Bend, where there's more snow. And so as that rain falls, if the surface temperatures like your deck, patio, even the roadways are still at freezing or below from a cold night and from a cold weekend, when that rain hits, The rain is just rain. It's cold rain, right? But it hits that frozen surface and immediately turns to ice. All right. A good example of that is when idiot me said, "Oh, the car's a mess from all the snow and slush and salt this weekend. I'm just going to quickly wash off the windows this morning and clean it off a little bit." I don't know what I was thinking. I don't know what I was thinking. So I did that, and it looks clean all right. However, a caked layer of ice developed on our car, and we had to defrost it for about 15 minutes. So that was before church. Good times this morning. But anyway, duh. That's the same thing that happens with freezing rain. All right. I'm not the brightest crayon in the box when it comes to practical things outside of weather. Anyway, so that's kind of what freezing rain is. You have a cold surface and you're throwing liquid on it, and then it freezes once it hits that surface, right? Because that surface is cold. So the good news is we're going to start to warm up, and I really don't see this as being too huge of an issue. We'll have to keep an eye on it. Anything untreated could develop a little bit of a glaze later in the morning as we get into the morning hours tomorrow. And I'm talking like after the morning rush hour, maybe for the late leavers tomorrow, if you are going to work. A lot of people have the week off. I get that. But those of you that have to go to work, we're talking 8, 9 o'clock is when I'm expecting this to kind of move in. So there you go. This is the latest HER model. It detects a little freezing rain going in there, but not a ton. All right. And then we just change over to plain old showers as we continue to try to warm tomorrow. Okay. This system heads by with some rain showers as we get into the afternoon, and then it's done. It's really a very quick system. Bulk of it's out towards the east. But notice there's still moisture hanging out down to the south. Little lake effect band of rain tries to get going. I don't think it'll make it here. But this is a big question here. Tuesday looks mainly dry, but kind of cloudy with maybe some lingering drizzle around. And then Wednesday, all right, we're talking Christmas Day. Here's when Santa comes. Let's talk about that real quick. So Santa arrives right in here with some showers, probably some areas of fog around. But then we'll keep an eye on this rain that's down to the south for Christmas Day, because the GFS brings that rain in here. The Euro and other models kind of hold it just out of here. So as of right now, I'm going to go with a shower chance on Christmas Day. But there's a chance that there's just an outside chance that whole blob of rain actually moves in here for Christmas, which I don't see that happening as of now. After combing through everything, I see just a shower chance with some rain hanging around. So let's dive in to the extended forecast. So as we go through time here, tomorrow, again, some showers after maybe an initial hit of a little ice and freezing rain. That would melt off as we get into the afternoon. Afternoon rush hour or any plans that you have tomorrow. I know you're finishing up, buttoning up Christmas plans and all that stuff. Afternoon looks fine tomorrow. Morning might get a little dicey, especially further east you get. So if you can avoid the morning and head out in the afternoon, that would be better. I don't think it's going to be crazy impactful in the morning, though, unless you get out towards the east, so we'll get a little bit icier, okay? That system heads by. Christmas Eve itself looks okay. Again, I could see a shower or two in here. Euro keeps everything south. So areas of fog are possible as well as this moves in. And then as we go into Christmas Day, Euro keeps the system south, just kind of a quiet day. Temperatures aren't too bad. We'll start to warm things up once we get beyond Christmas, but we won't be bad on Christmas. And then you see this kind of warm up that we have as we go beyond Christmas. So here's where things get interesting, okay? Kind of a quiet week outside of that system tomorrow. Things get interesting later this week, and then as we ring in the new year, okay? The big pattern change that we're looking at is that there's going to be a big warm up in the eastern half of the country. So we're going to have temperatures, I mentioned this last week, that are likely getting into the 50s. We're going to have a nice surge of warmth all the way up the entire eastern half of the country, all the way up to the Canadian border. This will bring some rain chances in here as well. And then once we get towards January, and, does it happen New Year's Eve? Does it happen January 2nd? That timing will be sorted out, and I'll show you here in a second. We go from that big blob of warmth to cold air wraps into it. I'm talking Arctic cold. And then we settle into a very cold pattern. January is looking to start pretty cold around here, and there looks to be some longevity to it. And it looks like all indication is that we're going to continue to pump in cold air, or at least shots of it, as we go throughout January. January's last couple of years, we've had really our first cold hits of the whole winter, and they haven't stayed around very long. This January looks a little bit different. And what happens when we bring that cold air in, it's going to set up a storm track that's somewhere in the Ohio and Tennessee valleys, which puts us at risk for snowstorms. We haven't talked about even the potential for snowstorms yet, because that storm track hasn't been there for so far for November and December. It looks to arrive in January, and I'll show you what I mean here. So here we go. This is Friday, December 27th. This is our system coming in out towards the west, big area, kind of a broad area of low pressure out towards the west. We're getting this strong, steady diet of Gulf of Mexico air. So Friday and Saturday, it might even be a little bit humid around here as we're really going to warm up, and it's going to feel pretty darn nice outside as we go into Friday and Saturday. We will have showers around. And then Saturday into Sunday, here's where the frontal boundary goes through. Still kind of an elongated low with this. All the models kind of show that. So, as of right now, I'm not looking at a severe potential with this. We'll have to keep our eye on it because we could certainly see severe weather this time of year, especially if our temps are pushing into the 50s to maybe even 60 in spots. And then you have cold air wrapping in. But as of right now, I don't see a compact low. Most of the models have kind of an elongated low, which doesn't focus the energy in an area to produce severe weather. So thunderstorms can't be ruled out with this, but we're going to go from kind of that rainy pattern to a much different pattern as we end the year. So the Euro brings in some colder air as we go into New Year's Eve right here. And then it brings in a storm system New Year's Eve, like when the ball's dropping or whatever you happen to do, and then into New Year's Day. And this is what the Euro has. It has area of low pressure that's developing down to the south. This is very cold air diving into the country. And what will happen here, at least locally, is that we would have, says the Euro, and again, this is fantasy land, but we're going to talk about it. It would be rain changing over to snow and some wind on New Year's Eve. That's something we'll need to watch, all right? And the reason why we need to watch this isn't because it has a storm system on us, because that will probably change, but it's the track of the storm systems that line up right through the Ohio Valley. So you can see this low heads right up through the Ohio Valley, and then we get this blast of Arctic air as we go into January 3rd and 4th with a big low that dives down into the deep south. That would spin up a monster storm system on the East Coast. But you see the trend here. I mean, is this guaranteed? It's not. We would have lake effect with it. But the trend is that we're going to get colder, okay? That is almost a guarantee. We can forecast 10 to 15 days out pretty accurately now in terms of what temperatures are going to do. We can't go exact temperatures, but we can tell you whether it's going to be warmer than average or colder than average. And with certainty, I can say it's going to warm up later this week, all right? And with certainty, I can say we're going to turn colder that maybe the end of December, but it looks like that first week in January is trending colder. And we could say that with some certainty, but in terms of where storm systems develop and all that, that's still kind of up in the air. But my concern is that we're going to be developing a storm track that could bring snowstorm systems somewhere through the Ohio Valley in the Northeast. All right. Does that mean we're going to get a snowstorm here in Northwest Indiana? It doesn't, but that pattern recognition is there. And you can see what that pattern's doing here with storm number one there, and then a much bigger storm here up and down the eastern seaboard. All right. And that pattern looks to stick around for a good part of January. I'll show you what the Euro says, not the Euro, the GFS says real quick. This is the latest GFS. You see how it has rain moving in here on Christmas, much different than the rest of the models, but certainly could be an outcome. And then we have this storm system here, which brings the warm area in Friday, Saturday. And then it too brings colder air in. It kind of lags it though until January 1st into the 2nd. You see how it has that shot of cold coming in. And then here you go. Storm track is the pattern recognition that we see where we have snowstorm potential. This brings a pretty decent snowstorm through Indiana on the 3rd and 4th. Again, I'm not buying it right now. It's too soon. And then it brings some other kind of big system in here a little bit further north. I don't like the placement of this. But again, you understand what I'm saying in terms of the pattern change that we have coming our way. And in terms of numbers, I do like the Euro's numbers best. I mean, we're coming out of some cold. Tomorrow, eventually, we'll go above freezing, so that that freezing rain risk goes away pretty quickly. And then we stay kind of ho-hum through Christmas. So those that got, I mean, all of us got snow, but those that got the most, we're maybe hanging on to it into Christmas Eve because it's not going to melt out crazy quickly. The rain tomorrow afternoon is going to melt it quicker than anything else. But we may hang on to some snow piles on it at Christmas. So if you collected enough snow, you may have a white Christmas at your house. But then the big warm up comes this weekend, as I mentioned, Friday, Saturday, and the Sunday, with temps jetting up into the 40s and likely 50s. And then you can see the cold air that the Euro has as we go into January. If you can't read this, this is January 1st, 2nd, 3rd. We're back into the low 20s. So nothing crazy cold as of right now, but that could certainly change if we get a low pressure that grabs that in. Last thing I want to cover here is snow cover. Not a lot of snow in our forecast as we go through the rest of the year, but look what happens into next year. So here's December 30th. here's the 31st, and watch the eastern half of the country once we hit January. Boom. I mean, there's a lot of snow falling in the eastern half of the country from snow systems or perhaps snowstorms. Okay. So that's kind of where we're heading pattern wise, is I do see a snowier January around here. Okay. All right. So let's dive into your questions. I'll be happy to answer those, and I'm going to go to bed if that's okay, because I have to wake up in just a couple hours. So, and again, I'm not saying that for poor me. I don't want to seem abrupt, like I have to leave, but I kind of need to go to bed. And you've got plans. You've got stuff you're going on. You're wrapping gifts probably tonight. All right, let's start with Tom. Tom says, seriously, will we ever get a decent snowfall again? Tom, we will. They're coming, buddy. We really don't average much snow for December. I know a lot of us from growing up remember December's where the snow was on the ground all the month, long. It was a white Christmas every year. But last 20, 30 years or so, we typically don't get a ton of snow in December. I know we picture it as being real snowy, but we're not that far behind average. We're really not. So January's coming, February's coming. Both those can be very snowy months around here, and certainly we'll have the cold air in play to do that. So I do see some decent snowfall coming. It's just not going to be till next year. All right. Love saying that. Julie, thank you so much. That's so sweet. Thank you for keeping me up to date with all your weekend forecasts with your weekday forecasts on 107.1. That's just awesome. You are just so sweet, Julie. I appreciate those kind words. Yeah. I mean, we're working hard these days. I'll tell you, we're in a lot of places. We're also on Lakeshore Public Radio, which is my old employer from where I got my start in weather. So really happy to do weather for them as well. But yeah, it's great to, and I feel very blessed to be able to bring you guys the weather, and I appreciate that trust. I always have. Let's see. Yeah, Ginger, I'm not new here. I appreciate that. I don't. So, Ginger, in terms of the ice windows, I just looked at it as I need to get that salt and stuff off the car, And we have an outdoor spigot that actually has warm water, and I didn't do the hot water. I know you don't do hot water on a frozen windshield, but I did like lukewarm water, to be able to get it out. But then it just froze. So, what an idiot. JP said, yeah, JP doesn't get a week off at all. JP, you're working hard, buddy. The good news is that rush hour is not going to be as bad, right, with a lot of people off. These are always kind of easier weeks, it feels like, for those that have office jobs, because the bosses are usually off as well. So JP, the polar vortex is going to be in play. To kind of dive into that, there are a lot of signs that we have stratospheric warming that's going to take place over the poles. And basically what that does, it happens every winter. The polar vortex likes to stay up around the poles. Okay. The polar vortex stays where it belongs most of the year, which is right around the Arctic. All right. And that's because there's a strong, and you guys apologize if I've told this to you a bunch of times, but that's because there's a strong ribbon of wind around the poles that keeps it in play. Right. When you have stratospheric warming up in the upper levels of the not just the atmosphere, but stratosphere is what we're talking about, it tends to produce a weaker kind of ring that's holding in that cold air. And so what happens is you can get kind of a weaker wind, and it allows that cold air that's up by the pole to kind of dip south into parts of the world where it typically isn't, right? Which include the United States. It's not just us. They get the polar vortex over in Europe. Siberia is very common in terms of getting like doses of it. But we do see stratospheric warming that's taking place. And usually, a week or two out from that, you'll see a displaced polar jet stream. And that allows those chunks of Arctic air to kind of break off and go to different parts of the globe. So yes, those will be in play. For right now, it looks like much of January. And so, does it end up in the United States? Does it end up in Canada? Where does it end up? That's the big question. But we're certainly in play for that, as we usually are in January and February at some point. So there's that. Okay. Yeah, Maxwell, good point, buddy. Might be last 50s till February. Yeah, I would certainly enjoy this stuff for sure. Yeah, John, absolutely. Well, haven't been the nicest to us or to us snow removal countries. Josh, absolutely. I know you guys have had rough winters. You really have. And that's unfortunate. I see your comment about the unused equipment as well. I know, and I think about that. The snow contractors that are on, a monthly contract, no matter what. they've been making bank because they haven't had to work, right? And the client hasn't been too happy. But those that aren't, which a lot of you aren't, most of you probably aren't on a monthly, no matter what, we'll plow as many times. You're probably on a per plow basis, and it has been rough last couple winters. I know. I do see things improving though. I still think this is going to be a snowy winter around here. I mean, compared to the last couple, it's going to be, but still, I do see it getting better. Wendy, heading to Disney on Christmas Day and returning on the 30th. Any weather concerns? Wendy, let's dive in. Let's take a look at your Disney forecast real quick. So as we go through time, you said you're leaving on the 30th. So let's fast forward to the 30th. So it looks like no problems here. If this front's a little slower, Wendy, on the 29th, you may have some rain when you get down there. I don't see any issues here. This system, if it develops on New Year's Eve and New Year's Day, would have a severe potential down in the southeast with it. So we'd have to keep an eye on that. But by the time it hits Florida, it doesn't look like much of a contrast in temperatures. So it looks like a little rain with that front. And then you're coming back. Oh, you're leaving Christmas Day, coming back to 30th. I'm sorry. I totally misread that. Let's back up here. So leaving Christmas Day, you'll have some rain showers on the way down, not in Disney itself. And then it looks like just some shower chances down there. Most of the time should be dry. There's a couple systems coming, just kind of hanging around Florida there. And then coming back on the 30th, and that's the one we talked about. There'd be a storm system. If this model's true, you'd be fine the whole way back. But if it's a little bit slow, if this front's a little slower, you'd have some issues leaving. So keep an eye on this system. But yeah, it really doesn't look bad. Could be a lot worse. That's good news. Let's see. Rich saying, I want a winter with actual snow. I know, Rich, a lot of us do. I haven't heard of a lot of people that actually don't want the snow this year. I think most people that I've talked to they're like, come on, we need a good system in here. So we'll see. Let's see, Ethan, in terms of severe thunderstorms, I don't see it with this next system, just because the low's kind of elongated. If there was a compact low with a superstorm system heading up or through the Great Lakes, I could see that, but I do not see a severe threat from this next one. Kimberly, yes, there is a freezing rain risk tomorrow. The time frame would be in the morning. This should be after your morning rush hour. That's the good news. And I don't see it for lasting very long. The threat is highest the further east you get, where there's more snowpack from the lake effect snow we had over the weekend. And it would be initially. So we wouldn't have anything on radar. And then as we go throughout the morning, we'll see rain develop on radar, but we'll still have frozen surface for a lot of us. So as that raindrop hits the surface, it will freeze. That's what freezing rain is. And we do have that potential tomorrow. I don't see it lasting very long, but that window is late morning through midday. All right. And it's further out towards the east. Okay. Yes, Maxwell, always the bringer of positive news. We are gaining daylight. Yes. Maxwell, how many? I'm just guessing. We gained probably a second of daylight today. And then tomorrow's probably 3 seconds. And I think it goes 6 and then 10 seconds. We're getting there. We're getting there, everybody. JP, I haven't found a correlation between those two, between Northern Lights events and Arctic cold. There is some correlation between volcanic activity or seismic activity on Earth. I know some scientists are doing studies on that, and how a lot of that volcanic activity is under the ocean, and how those numbers have gone up and ocean temps have gone up, where they think maybe some of the ocean warming isn't from the climate, it's from what's happening underneath the ocean. So there's interesting correlation there. I am by no way an expert on that, so I'm not going to comment other than I'm aware of research and I've read some papers on that. But yeah, nothing that I know of in terms of Northern Lights in correlation to Arctic cold. But maybe, and again, I'm not an expert on that. Yeah, I will need a double cup of coffee tomorrow. 3 seconds today, Maxwell. Thank you. Much better. Yeah. Oh, Ethan. Yeah, that storm track and the storm in January is actually a product of the winter storm track that's going to be developing. So the storm that we get around New Year's Eve, New Year's Day, kind of brings that cold air in and brings that storm track further south. And then multiple storm systems looks to go along that. So I don't know if you've seen the 12Z Euro run from today has a huge East Coast storm system and subsequent snowstorm with lake effect snow across the Great Lakes. That storm track is going to be somewhere close to us. So we'll have to keep an eye on it. January looks to be a pretty exciting month weather-wise. It really does. Phoebe, you're so sweet. Thank you very much. All right, I'm going to let you guys go. I'm going to get some sleep. I think we're talking, let's see, we've got 3.5 hours of sleep I'm going to get right now. But it is holiday week, and we're on vacation after that. So that's good news. And I'll be here all week tracking the forecast with you guys. So I hope you guys are having a blessed weekend. I hope you're ready to settle into obviously Christmas holiday and beyond. It's certainly just a wonderful time of year. Guys, just take time. Please take time to just not only remember the reason for the season, but just I know there's a lot of stuff going on, with plans and presents and all this and all these things you have to do. Just take time to just breathe and sit and look at your Christmas tree. And just enjoy this time of year. It really is special. So lots to talk about here in terms of the forecast next couple of weeks. So we'll certainly keep you updated. Okay. All right. Enjoy your night. I guess that's all I have for you. I appreciate you guys spending time with me. I really do. I always do. All right. We'll talk to you soon.